Hi, this is Sarah with the Midwest Writing Center, and we are getting to know conference faculty for the 2026 Collins Writers Conference. Today, we are sitting down with Tatiana Schlote-Bonne, who will be teaching novel writing. Um, Tatiana is the author of horror novels Such Lovely Skin, The Mean Ones, and What Feeds Below, which comes out this fall. She has an MFA from the nonfiction writing program at the University of Iowa. When she's not writing, she's either gaming, lifting weights, or teaching people how to lift weights. She's of Japanese, Mexican, and European descent and lives in Iowa. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok as the Buff Writer, and you probably should. You should probably go look and find her and follow her. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming to the conference this summer. Yay.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I'm really excited.
So I'm just going to jump into conference questions. But first, how did you get into writing novels?
Yeah, well, I started with writing nonfiction. I had this idea that I was going to write a memoir when I was in high school, and I Googled best writing schools and moved to Iowa. And I started with personal essays, but I took some fiction classes as well. And I like the freedom of getting to make up whatever I want for fiction, and I always gravitated toward the creepy. And then after 3 years, it wasn't even after the 3 years, like halfway through grad school. So like after a year and a half of just doing essays, and the literature we were reading at Iowa, I wanted to return to writing something that was fun for me. So that's how I got into the novel writing.
I knew that because I've talked to you about this before. But I love so much that you are making sure that like this thing that you love that you've invested all your time in is fun. Like we don't
Hmm.
we don't need to be writing should be fun. We're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
okay. What do you think are some like benefits for for the individual for writing novels?
Well, for me personally, it's been a good way to still write about all the things I was writing about in nonfiction. So I was writing a lot about childhood trauma and neglectful parents and bullying and toxic relationships. I was writing about all that in my memoir and essays. And so it was more freeing and yes, more fun to take these themes and transplant them into horror stories. And a lot of what I've lived has been like real life horror that translates well into horror. And so for me, it has been very cathartic. And so I think that the benefit of writing can be catharsis, entertainment. There's also a great escapism. I also want this to be my career. So, like, uh, building a livelihood, I hope is a benefit, which has been an ongoing challenge. And if that's your sole reason, definitely do anything else. But it is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I feel like it feels like maybe a trick question, but I just really wanted to be like someone other than me to say writing is good for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you. Um, what are some things that you see like in the work like you interact with a lot of writers, you've been through um an intense, writing program. You are now, a I mean, you're kind of prolific at this point, a book a year for 3 years. Um, you're, doing the thing, you're a professional novel writer. What are some things that you see people or yourself tend to mess up when they're writing novels or like tend to get wrong in the process?
Yeah. Well, I can just talk about the mistakes that I've made personally. And I have seen these in some with other books, especially when I've taught like undergrads and some new writing mistakes. Um, Definitely getting caught up in the external, so like the what happens, basically the plot points, and just putting the emphasis in the writing on like the stuff that happens. When a book is just a bunch of crazy stuff that happens, it feels meaningless and it can actually read pretty boring if it's just like crazy thing, wild thing, chaos. Um, and to me, for a story to really grab me, both when I'm writing and I'm reading it, each external thing that happens has to mean something personally to the characters and have personal consequences, personal weight. And so making sure that these stories are character driven, even when there is a chaotic plot. And like, yeah, you want fun things and explosions and being chased around, but it still has to all have purpose. And that is the tricky part of balancing the two. And I think I do see a lot of that like snobbiness and like, oh, like these horror books aren't real literature kinds kind of things. But at least with my books and a lot of the horror that I read, I feel that they're very steeped in being very personal, human, character-driven stories, but we're just dealing with some sort of horror that's maybe elevated from real life horror to the supernatural. So yes, putting the emphasis back on the characters, knowing the point and purpose of the story. So it's kind of the same thing I've been saying, but I can't really write until I know what this book wants to say and like where I'm going with the end. Sometimes that will change as I'm writing, but I at least need to know what I want to try to say with this book. Like the mean ones I knew was going to be a feminine rage woman who's always been passive and can't say no, learns to say no kind of story. Um, yeah. And then writing, this is a cliche, but like writing what you want to write and not trying to please other people. I actually just scrapped a secret book, no book deal. So it doesn't really exist. We're just talking about a manuscript on my computer. But I got halfway and was like, I hate this book. And I felt like I was trying to write I was trying to make the protagonist too likable. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like trying to make her give her these like altruistic goals and reasons for doing things. And I just really wasn't connecting with it and I was getting bored. And so I scrapped it and I was like, I'm gonna start over, but she's going to be really unhinged and super selfish. And like have problems galore. And it made me have fun. And I connected with her a lot more, and I finished a full draft way faster than I was slogging through that one that like I just couldn't stay interested in.
I think this is so funny because I feel like we've probably talked about this before, but the like get likable characters I feel like just come out as Mary Sue's and they're just like
Yeah.
not like they're unlikable. Like I'm so far I've been really into your characters. But they're real people. They're not annoying Mary Sue's. Uh
Yeah, I really like the flawed characters, and I return to writing those types of characters a lot. And I actually find them likable in a lot of ways. I read my reviews, and apparently the internet doesn't agree, but I find their flaws.
the world's best book reviewer is a big fan of yours. So
Oh, okay.
obviously it's me.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I'm amazing.
Yeah, no, you agree with me. So that's all that matters. The people who really get my work do get it, and that's what I care about. But I am surprised sometimes when I see the reactions because I'm like, I didn't find that
I
unlikable.
I have had feedback from people where they're like, it's really interesting how you're able to make, because it's like, I think it's pretty clearly nonfiction that I'm writing because I know me, where people are like, it's really interesting that you're able to have such a flawed, and I'm like, thanks,
Yeah. Yeah,
glad you think I'm flawed.
that's funny.
Um, thank you.
Um, well, yeah,
My
I mean, I experienced that. I write fiction, so people don't know that it's really about me. And my characters aren't me. But Sadie was like pretty closer to me in a lot of ways. And then people are like, this is the most evil,
Okay, hold on. No one
selfish.
engages with horror if they don't want to yell at the characters a little bit.
Yeah. No, like you definitely want to. Yeah.
Because if everybody was always communicating and doing logic, we wouldn't have a plot.
Right.
I get really
That is
mad at
one of the
sitcoms.
challenges, yeah, of writing horror for sure.
I get really mad at sitcoms when I'm like, why don't they just talk to each other? And I'm like, well, because I
Yeah.
wouldn't have a show then. I just have one more question. What can not like don't give us a preview, but like what can people expect from your workshop?
Yeah, so a lot of what I've already talked about, where we will dig into what is the point of the story. What's its purpose? What are you trying to say? Why does the story matter to you? And then tie that into building the main character and the growth that they need to face, why they are the ones who need to go through the plot challenges that your story will pose, and what they'll learn and how that will shape them.
That was so succinct. Um, Beautiful. Thank you. I'm actually gonna take this quick little chance to quick little opportunity to read the course description.
Hmm.
Um, do you have an idea for a novel but don't know where to start? Or do you lose steam halfway through your drafts? In this class, we'll make novel writing manageable by focusing on the arc of your main character. Questions we'll consider include, why is this character the lead? What do they need to learn? Why should a reader care if your protagonist lives or dies? What is the point of the story? After we've figured out who your protagonists are and all their flaws, we'll craft character-driven novel blueprints glued together by the often wrong choices of your characters make. By the end of the course, you'll have an outline for the major story beats of your novel and an overview of your character's arc. Um, I'm so pumped. I feel like, okay, so I did take a class with you once, and you really made everything really, I don't want to say manageable, but it was like things were broken down such that I like fixed I mean, I never finished. It's an ongoing in progress novel, but like it fixed it just
Oh,
from the stuff that you
well,
presented.
that's great to hear.
Did I never tell you that? Yeah, no, that was awesome.
I'm so glad. Hmm.
And so I also want to say this is for writers of any level wherever they are in their novel writing, because this is like I think I was halfway through my novel when I took that class with you, which was much shorter and less involved. And it was useful for me and generative for me. I like got back into the novel in a way I hadn't in a long time. Um, so that's my take. Tatiana's cool. Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. That was great. Thank you.
Cool, thanks. Folks out there, the conference is June 25th through 27th. Um, and all the information is on our website, mwcqc.org.